Hello and welcome back to the Gonzo Ewok channel with me, Ewok. I'm playing Stellaris again, with the armed Kirillian nations, the militarist, xenophobe, authoritarian nations, and I just conquered Ewok Prime. Now, if I remember rightly, I went in and I set the Ewok as residents to my empire because I didn't want to enslave them because they're very good at research. But I didn't want them to have full rights, so I'm just going to double check on that. So apologies that this is probably a little bit of a repetition from the back of the last episode. So set rights. So they are residents. They've got decent living standards. They're weak, so they're going to have no military service. They're allowed to colonise, because I may choose to colonise with them down the line if I find a particularly sexy research planet that I want to make use of them on. They've got no population controls. Migration controls are enabled, which prevents them from moving freely between worlds. So they're free in the loosest sense of the word. They're not slaves, but they're sort of limited to stay on their home planet, live on their home planet, and do what I tell them on that home planet. Not slaves at all. Okay, that's brilliant. One thing I need to do is set my core world policy if I haven't already done so. Again, apologise if I did this at the back of the last episode, but I can't remember. Yes, all species are allowed on my core worlds. That's good, because if I'd set it to citizens only or citizens and slaves only, then they'd be kicked out because Ewok Prime is now one of my core worlds. So the war is over. What I'm going to do is probably then send my armada back to my home world, and I'll upgrade them to the latest designs. And I guess what I need to do is start focusing on rebuilding my economic strength, because soon I'm probably going to come into conflict with the Hathgum Blood Host, who are fanatic purifiers, who have a very low opinion of everybody, and frankly are even more xenophobic than me. I'm not saying something, I just want to enslave everybody, they want to kill everybody. Okay, so these Democratic Crusaders, the Sulibands, have closed their borders to me. Where are they?
Construction complete.
Where the hell are they? Oh, they're over there. Oh, big deal. Oh, I'll close my borders to you. And I'll declare you a rival. It's not even worth declaring them a rival for the influence I'll get. They're right next to these guys. I'm guessing these guys have kicked the crap out of them, given how small they are. And the fact they're surrounded by Hijam Alliance. I'd like to be friends with these guys, even though they're filthy Xenos. So that we can take the Blood Host on from both sides. Right, so Yiban needs armies. It's got 5 underway, a lot of unrest. What I might do is I've got armies on this planet here. So it might be a good idea if I land them on the Ewok, at least until things calm down. Suppress some of that unrest. How does that leave this planet in terms of unrest? A bit, but less, which is more important. Right, back to building. So I'm doing alright in terms of minerals and stuff, so the focus is on research. So I'll build some research stations. And then look at my new planet and see what it needs. And this new planet's going to eventually become tailored to mostly minerals. Sorry, mostly research. With the Yibraks and these guys, the Valmanaks, they'll focus on mineral production. So I'll probably be getting rid of these power stations, so there's not much point in improving them in the meantime. they're so unhappy. Poor them. I can't give them anything other than decent living standards. I'd quite like them to colonise this planet, but who the hell are the Stakashi? I have no idea who the Stakashi are. I certainly don't seem to have any Stakashi pops. I don't have any there. Legion of Alliance declared war on the United Civilian Confederacy. Yeah, I remember the Stakashi now. They're the guys who came up in that event where they were the subterranean race and I enslaved them. So I do recall them. So they are on Almac, I think? Yes, they are. But let's take a look at them. So I want 2 more of their pops, and then I probably want to stop them from breeding, because this is going to be a science planet. Right, a lot of talking, not much building, so let's get cracking. We can only build physics labs at the moment, and physics is quite far ahead, so I'm not going. Well, I'll upgrade a couple of them. It'd be crazy to not do anything with them. Upgraded. Make sure we're spending the cash that we've got. The fleet's been upgraded as well. So I've got quite a bit of overhead in my fleet now too. So I can make them nice and powerful for the next battle. For the next war. Really, I need to get things up and running here.
Construction complete.
They're all very unhappy. So that's not happy. Basics of persistent chattel slavery and recently conquered. That's all fine. You should still be producing though. As a slave, your production shouldn't be affected by happiness. Planetary unrest minus 50%. I understand. However, that should definitely be a mining network. There's no reason for a slave working on an energy tile, especially when there is a mineral bonus on the tile. Turn the speed up. Right, every planet's currently building something. That's good. probably do with some more energy by the looks of things. So let's start building some energy stations. And what are we researching? Mostly weapon systems. Oh, that's good. And if I remember rightly, I recently researched destroyers too, so I can start upgrading my space stations so I can build some destroyers. Supplement my corvette fleet. That looks like a pretty good planet for food, certainly. Lots of food on that planet. Low gravity building costs.
Construction complete.
So that's more of a save planet, really.
Debris. Construction complete. Construction complete.
If I could just get the tile block after mountain range cleared. Oh, we were doing a special project. After careful analysis of the Voltworm transmitter array, our archaeologists and data engineers have concluded that the machinery does not contain any technologies of value to us. The project has greatly improved our understanding of the primary Voltworm programming language, however. This will hopefully make it easier to decipher their data in the future. That's right, of course. I had a scientist reach level 5, so I sent them around to sort out all the Voltworm artifacts. So he's got a few to hit. I'm sick of these guys getting in my way, so it's time to go and kill them. The Alpha Menace. We'll research them first, because we may get some benefits from blowing them up if we research them first. Right, let's get some more energy stations built if we can. If we've got anywhere where we can do that.
Special project complete. Research complete. Situation log updated.
So we can build there.
Debris.
Build there. Research plasma thrusters. I'll research the engineering facility. Because as I discovered before, I've only got one type of second tier research facility. So if I want to spread my research around evenly, I'm going to have to research them.
Fleet engaged. Construction complete. Debris analyzed. Construction complete. Situation log updated.
Lovely stuff. Off home you go. So, the space amoebas, now a quasi-derogatory term gleefully popularised by the Kirillian forces tasked with bringing them down, are much more complex than anticipated. Harder exteriors protect a greater number of pockets housing smaller amoebas, creatures that our fleets have observed moving, effectively acting as strike craft when engaging the mothership amoeba. While superficially similar to the obvious differences in size, the strike amoeba are much simpler creatures than the space amoeba proper. Inside the space amoeba, beyond these pockets, lie hundreds of delicate organs, doubtlessly all integral to surviving the harsh vacuum of space. Blah 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 blah. What do you want to do? We've got two different options. They both give us the same thing. Ends the event chain and gives us plus damage to space amoebas. Bring them home. So this science ship can now go and research their bodies and survey the system. And we can unlock terraforming. Could be useful. An archaeological dig on Bunda 2 was uncovered. Small mural in one of the observatory's dust-covered smaller chamber seems to depict several constellations, possibly as they would appear if viewed from the Vultuam homeworld. Astronomers have not been able to identify the individual stars. So I'm going to slow things down for a second because I've got a lot to catch up on. First thing I want to do is look at my factions, because these guys are really bloody unhappy. Now, is there anything I can do to please them that's not going to upset my other guys? I could legalise passive study on natives. I'm not that bothered about that. I'm not going to free aliens. Yeah, I could get rid of purges, because I'm not going to purge anybody. And we're streaming a transmission from an independent space station of the Mutagen Merchant Guild. Hello! I'm not going to allow refugees. I'm not going to have diplomatic ties. I don't particularly want to have enclaves in me, so right, I'm going to do passive alien studies and ban purging. Okay, now I'm going to pause because I've got far too much going on. So, policies. Purge policy. How's my purge policy? Oh, there we go, purge policy. So, we're not going to do purging. That's fine. I should have put it on displacement only, to be honest. But never mind. Slavery, we're still being enslaved. What was the other one? Ah, yes, native interference. Passive only. Because we're not fussed about that. That brings them up to 35% happiness, which is much happier than they were before at 0% certainly. I'm also going to suppress the faction, because in the long run I want them down, and that'll make them unhappy again, but it'll not make them 0% unhappy like they would have been if I hadn't started suppressing them before that. And I'll hopefully have my guys moving towards a more authoritarian point of view. So supremacy, let's have a look. I can increase my ship build and speed capacity. Alright, and get 25% more territory in a war, essentially. That's what I'm saying. But to win a war, you've got to win the war first, and that one's going to help me win the war. I was confused, I thought it was telling me that Do I already have it? I've already got it. I've already got it, for God's sake, Ewok. In that case, we'll take that one. Right, do nothing there. Not ready to do anything there yet. Unemployed pop here, so we need more energy and a research station. Boost the research station and we'll upgrade that. No energy's good. These guys not growing. They don't seem to be. Oh no, there's a pop growing there. Energy. And research, please. Food. And doesn't look like there's anything to do here at the moment. Lots of things I could upgrade, but I don't want to upgrade the... Well, I'll upgrade the mineral plant. I'm not going to upgrade the science centers just yet. And that leaves us money for ships and all sorts, but I'm going to call it a day here. So the economy is still pretty pants poor, but you know, things are coming along. Actually, one thing I am going to do is, because I've got this slave planet here, but it does have one research tile on it and a couple of energy tiles. So if I go to Yibar, I'm going to move one of these guys over. Is it Almac? No, I don't want them at Almac. Falco boss. Kitop, that's the one. So you can come there. So I wonder, a lot of energy tiles over here. So I'll bring two over, I'll bring one over for one of the energy tiles as well. And with that, I will call it a day. So, slow building, can't say much else, but you know, that's what happens after a war. You do a fight, you build up a bit. In the next episode, I'll continue doing that, continue building up. I'll start getting the fleet underway in preparation for my next war, which is probably going to be against the Hathgun Blood Host. I think I'm also going to colonise this planet, Epsilon Indi. It's a good food planet. I mean, I don't particularly need food, but I may as well be grabbing up territory where I can get it. And I hope to see you in the next episode. So thank you for watching Stellaris. See you next time. Bye.